So this time I want to talk about the idea, and I know a lot of people, especially in the self-help spirituality industry, say nobody can hurt you or tear you down unless you let them. And I even brought that up in my previous video. And I wanted to come back to this statement because I didn't fully go into the layers of it in the previous video, but I think it's important to, because the first time I ever, and it's been so long now, I don't remember if I read it or I heard it in a, watching somebody else talk. I can't remember the first time, but the first time I heard it, it was when I was in the midst, like the height of my pain, my rage, of the injustice of everything I was dealing with, when I was the target of abuse and bullying and really going through all of that within myself. And it just in so much pain, it was almost all I could think about at the time. And to hear somebody say, well, nobody can tear you down unless you let them, kind of a thing, it made me immensely angry. And that's why I want to talk about this, because if any of you kind of have that same reaction to the statement, then I'd like to talk about the layers of it, because I think it's really important. So I didn't have enough emotional distance yet. I can definitely tell I'm out of it today because I'm having a hard time talking. But at the time I just I didn't have enough emotional distance to really be able to take in that statement. I mean, I understood it, of course, mentally, but definitely not emotionally. So it is a very true statement, but I want to make sure that you all understand that it isn't a statement, though, that's saying that you don't have the right to feel what you feel. You definitely do. Especially because even if you tried not to feel, what your reaction is, it's not going to work. I mean, you can't make yourself have a feeling disappear. Especially something as strong as pain, betrayal, abuse, the way those things affect you. The statement itself, that nobody can tear you down, and I did mention this in my previous video, what it's saying is, if it does tear you down, if somebody can, if they're able to make you feel worthless and unheard, disrespected, you don't matter, you're nothing, kind of a feeling. If anyone is able to make you feel that way, it's showing you the imbalance within yourself where you're not loving yourself enough. That's what it is. So when someone says nobody can tear you down unless you let them, all it's saying, it's a statement of, it's almost like a reminder. It's a great reminder to kind of say to yourself, if you find yourself reacting in a very hurt, very angry way to anything that really is unjustified, and unjustified in the sense that you really have looked at the whole picture. You know what is yours and what is theirs. And if you're clear and you know that your intentions were never manipulative or low or vindictive, you were actually trying to help the situation, you did care about the person, you weren't playing games, you weren't doing any of that kind of stuff. No matter what the circumstances, right? But somebody is attacking you and tearing you down, whether you know them intimately or not, like any situation, right? But you know it's unjustified. You know that you don't deserve it. But here this comes, and it makes you feel like, it makes you doubt yourself. It makes you question your sanity, you know, in some of the worst situations like gaslighting, really, really nasty sociopathic abuse, okay? If you can be affected by that and really feel like nothing, then that's what this statement is for. It's a reminder to you. Because nobody deserves that. Nobody deserves that. Especially when you know your intentions were never what theirs were. You know, you're not trying to make somebody feel like crap so that you can somehow puff yourself up at their expense. That's not what you were doing. And that yet you're getting attacked, right? It's once you can get some emotional distance, and it takes time, you have to feel your feelings. Nobody can tell you how to feel. And nobody can tell you how long it takes to heal from something. You have to go through the stages and let yourself do that. That's a loving step even for yourself. And that even goes for the abuser. Because a person is abusive because they're trying to avoid their pain, their fears, their perceived weaknesses or absolute weaknesses based on their choices, right? They're, because being abusive to somebody else is a weakness. It's them not being in their own power, not being in a loving space. They're just taking it out on somebody else. It takes a lot of time. Sometimes years, if not a lifetime. I mean, it really just depends. It depends on the situation. It depends on the person. And nobody gets to judge it. So if I'm saying a statement like, nobody can hurt you unless you let them, and you take it angrily like I did the first time I heard it or read it. And I think it was Wayne Dyer, if I remember correctly, who I absolutely love. Like I said before in my previous video, I love Wayne Dyer. And the statement is extremely true. It's an awesome reminder to yourself, yes, nobody can. Because nobody has the right to, quite frankly. We are equals. We truly are. In that spiritual sense, and I did say this before, we're all on this planet. We're all here to learn and to grow and to attempt to really be our best selves, right? Bring out those talents, those strengths, all of it. And everybody is valid. Everybody has something to contribute. Everybody. So, an abuser, unfortunately, is ignoring their pain and they're taking it out on others. That's what it is. They're in avoidance. And the sad thing is the more you try to stifle down pain, emotions, if you're in this power game mode all the time with people, you're trying to overpower, you're trying to be better than, so to speak, right? There is no such thing, but their ego is saying, I've got to win all the time. I've got to win. And it's an illusion. So if that's where that person is at, hopefully eventually, after some of that pain and anger and everything has started to subside, however long that takes, you start to see that abusive person, that is a reflection of their issues. It's not a reflection of you or anything you've ever deserved. And, so nobody can hurt you unless you let them then. Again, becomes that reminder statement that this person should not be able to tear you down. And if they are, then you need to address within you why that is. Why aren't you loving yourself enough? Why are they able to get into your head and twist the truth and have you doubting yourself when really deep down you know that your intentions were legitimate? and theirs are not, you know, because it's all about games. It's all about power plays. It's a reminder to really love yourself. And if you try and get to a mutual place with somebody that's abusive or bullying or whatever, and they're not able to eventually meet you there, then again, that is their issue, their pain, their fear, the toxicities within themselves that they're not loving themselves enough to really dig into and resolve. They're not letting themselves heal. They're just attacking. They're just attacking. And you have to have distance. And sometimes it can really be difficult. I mean, especially I've been in a lot of different types of situations, but if it's not somebody that, you know, whether you don't know them that well or you really do, either way, but you have a strong connection with them, you do care, you know. No matter what the circumstances, and you're just trying to reach that equality place, that place where there's really open communication and it's real, and they can't, then, you know, one, you take your own power back, because you know, you can look at your weaknesses, you can look at where the pain is able to get to you, why they're able to play the games and hurt you and all these things. You can finally come back from that because you're seeing it and you're understanding that, no, of course I don't deserve that. Why would I? But also the anger can start to slowly subside. Again, this takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. But eventually, slowly it starts to subside when you start to think about this person. And sometimes it can yo-yo back and forth while you're trying to heal from it as well. But, you know, this person is in that place. They're in that abusive mode. They're not able to face anything. And they're just going to use and abuse people, and that's where they're at. And you just need to leave them over there, you know, because you have no other choice. And like I said in the previous video, people can always change, but unfortunately, some of these people that are in that abusive mode, that have been there their whole lives, you know, since childhood, since it began, and this is their habit. This is the learned way that they've become. And they haven't understood how to change it. The chances of them changing it are unfortunately slim. It's not impossible. It's never impossible. I will never say it is. It always is possible, but slim. And it's not really up to anybody to make that happen. You know, it's up to them. You can try to get through to them. You know, you can say what you need to say what you're seeing. In fact, I would encourage you to do that. I encourage anyone who's a victim of abuse to voice their pain. The problem though is you've got to, and this is really hard, you've got to somewhat try and find the right timing for that, because if you're still drowning in anger and pain, the danger of that is that when you go to voice it, you have the danger of actually matching them. You know, you don't ever want to take on their abusive energy. So it's possible, but you can still have a ton of anger and, you know, pain and disgust and all these things at the injustice of it all. But as long as you're still keeping in mind the whole dynamic of the situation, the fact that you were obviously not loving yourself enough to begin with for them to be able to do what they did, you know what I mean? So it's or to be able to get into your head, I should say, not to be able to do what they did. And I need to paraphrase that because I don't want anyone to think I'm saying it's your fault that they were abusive. Absolutely not. Never. That person's actions, choices, reactions, behaviors is theirs. Theirs. You are not responsible for their behavior. The only thing you're responsible for is your own. So that's what I was trying to get to, is definitely voice how you feel. Voice the pain. Voice the injustice. Because I really think that that's an important part of healing too, is to stand up to the person, but try your best to do it without attack. And of course, someone like that, when they're still in the power game mode, anything you say that is pushing back at them, they're gonna try, because, and I'm saying this because I've been there, they're gonna try and say that you're being abusive. They're gonna try and say that you're doing X, Y, and Z when it was really them. They're not gonna really be able to hear you, is my point, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're honest and you express yourself because you deserve to, you know, whether they can hear or not it's unfortunate, but I mean, it's out of your control. This is about you doing what you need to do because they obviously have no ability to care about your side of it. They're too stuck in their own, right? So, I don't know, maybe some people would argue that. I guess it really depends on the situation, but I don't know. I really feel it's important once you get enough healing within it to where you can address something without matching nastiness or something. Like you're able to talk about it, and yeah, of course there's pain and there's anger there, but it's not abuse, you know? You're just simply saying it how it is. But I don't know. I mean, some people may not ever be ready for that. I don't know. Maybe they just feel it's better to push them out of their lives completely and not even bother. And that's valid too. I mean, it's up to you. I don't know. I just feel like there's something about really voicing it. Not nastily, not matching their ugly energy, but just really voicing it. Standing your ground, you know, knowing that you never deserved it. And talking about the layers of what's happened. And you can even have ownership within yourself as well, which I think is very important when you're speaking to them. To be, you know, I can see that, you know, I wasn't loving myself enough. I can see why you were able to like easily trigger me. The layers of that. Yeah. I don't know, but nobody can hurt you unless you let them. I mean, it really is true. As layered and as difficult as that can be at times, it's true. So, you know, again, if anyone gets angry with that statement, I've got to ask you to please just continue to sit with it, meditate on it if you're a person that, you know, if you're able to just really sit with your feelings and your thoughts and let them go, even if it's extreme and stewing. You know, things just have to run their course. They just do. I just encourage you to stick with it and really love yourself enough to do that. And know that, yeah, you didn't deserve that. And I mean, nobody deserves abuse. And I can even go even further and say that this abusive person didn't become abusive on their own, you know? Something has happened in their life, or many things. They're still very much responsible for who and what they are. You know, as soon as they're old enough to know right from wrong, and they're choosing to be this way, that was their choice. It's their responsibility. But more than likely, they had help getting there, meaning they were abused as well, right? So, it's such a cyclical thing. It's toxicity just being passed down, and that's why I say it's so important to actually be able to get to a point where this statement is just truly valid and a reminder to yourself, so that you're not getting to a point where you are reactionary and angry and can run the line of crossing that boundary line, right? And then now you're being nasty to someone else. So whichever direction, you know, I feel like this is a statement for literally anybody to just kind of think about in their own lives, in their own situations, their own emotionality. How often are you triggered? And when you are, what are your choices, actions, reactions, behaviors? It's a good thing to really think about, spend some time with. Really getting to know yourself so that you do have more control, so that you do have some space. And it's not easy. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's a lifelong thing, right? And, you know, I think at the time that I wrote my book, I said, in terms of healing, in terms of getting back into balance within myself, I was at like a 70-30. I'd have to, I do believe that's what I said. It was like 70% of the time I'm good, you know, I'm in a good place, and I'm understanding the full picture, you know, my side of it and theirs and the whole thing. And I'm okay. And I'm continuing to push forward and all those things. And I can even say now, since then, I think I've moved forward even more. Like, I think I'm more of like an 80-20. But that 20% still is tough. I mean, it rears its ugly head at times, and I find myself being triggered and reactionary and angry, and all of that past betrayal and abuse and everything just comes up again. And I definitely see it. I mean, I try very hard to not let myself fully react from that place. When I feel it, it's like, okay, it's time to step back a little bit and just take a moment, if I'm able to. But it can be hard, you know. At least mentally, I think mentally I have a very good grasp of the situations, and I think I'm seeing things pretty clearly, you know, especially, again, because it's the most important to see your stuff, mainly because you can see other people's stuff, but I mean, they're either gonna get it or they're not, and you have no control over anybody else. You only have control over you. So, you know, focus within first and foremost, work on getting yourself as balanced as you can, and just continue to move forward. And it's not always easy, unfortunately. But I think it's very important to just keep, like when those times rear their ugly heads and you're stuck in the anger and the pain and the injustice and the inequality and the sadness of it, you know? Because I can say, in general, I just feel, when I really think about the different situations I've had throughout my life where people really were cruel to me, I just keep feeling so sad. And it's not really about me, it's about them. Like, I legitimately feel sad for them. Because that level of pain and cruelty that they feel is necessary. Like, they feel like they're gaining something. They feel like they're protecting themselves. They feel like all this misconception of power. They feel like they've got to, you know, slam someone down. I win! And it's all crap. It's all nothing. It's all only a reflection of their imbalances within themselves and their inability to deal with their shadow aspects, their stuff, their pain, the unhealed aspects of their life. And it just really makes me sad. I just, I don't know. I mean, it's everything. It's everything I've been through in my life. It's not just my pain and the healing journey that I've been on. It's what I've seen of other people. It's all of it. That's why I want to do these things. That's why I wrote my book. That's why I figured, well, you know, I should probably do some videos. Maybe it would reach more people or something somehow. I don't know. I want people to understand that their level of happiness in their life is theirs. It doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. It's just you. That's it. You are experiencing your life. So you have to somehow find all the things that are blocking you from balance and happiness. The person who is abusive and bullying and power mongering, they're looking for love outside of themselves. They have, or worth, or self-importance. You know, they're looking for all these things outside of themselves to prove something to themselves, but really they're trying to fill this empty hole within themselves with all the wrong things. Money, success, using and abusing people, fame, admiration, you know, trying to achieve, trying all the time. And they don't have the ability to just be within themselves and really feel love and happiness. They can't look at their weaknesses, the things that need to be improved on, the fears, without judgment and disgust, you know? And that's why they attack. It's just, it's sad. It really is. And looking at all that shadowy aspect, emotional stuff within yourself is not easy. I mean, my own journey of coming back from a lot of that stuff, which again, you know, 80-20, I still have some work to do. But coming back from that, I did have my own time of having sadness, pain, and even disgust at what I realized, was it's kind of like saying, I realized how I was helping them tear me down. I realized all of that fear and all of the times in my life that I have gotten in my own way, not standing in my power, not acknowledging all the true, strong talents and everything that I have to offer. It's like I was helping them squish me down so that I couldn't be someone who's shining for who I am, letting other people maneuver me in certain ways and not really understanding how that was happening until I really, really dug in, and it's hard. I mean, you're looking at it and you're just like, what was I doing? And anger, the amount of anger at myself was huge. So, it's important to really go in and do that work, even as hard as it is. You've got to do it, because not only do you owe yourself that, but it's also about everybody else. We are all one. We are all equal. And how do I want to say it? Well, how you treat yourself and others, it's like it's going to show. If there are imbalances, they're going to show. Absolutely. There's no way around it. It's going to show. And so pay attention. The most important thing is love. I mean, that really is it. That is power. And these power-mongering people, no matter how good at hiding their emotions and their choice, like any shame they may feel of what they've done, like, they're always putting on that persona, always putting on the bravado. I'm better than all this crap, the more somebody does that on average, the more it really does show the opposite. I mean, that's what's so funny. They think that they are proving something, and it's completely ridiculous. The nastier someone is, the more they're trying to run away from themselves. That's it. So if you happen to come across this video and you are in the thick of it, I mean, you just got slammed, betrayed, abused, whatever the situation is, and you're in the worst pain of it, and you are at the point where you don't even know what to do, understand, try to really think about what I just said. The nastier somebody is, the more vindictive and power playing they are, the more that they really are just drowning in their own shadowy, unhealed emotionality. And the best thing you can do is distance yourself. It doesn't take away, having to deal with the anger and the pain and everything from it, but you don't need to deal with it anymore, right? So I don't know. All we have is responsibility for ourselves, and the people around you, again, you can try and help, you can try and influence, you can try and support, you can try and teach or whatever, but it's still up to them, you know. And my mind just veered off on another tangent. It's like children might be a little bit different. Like if you're a parent and you have your child and they're pretty young, that's a little different. I mean, in that case, you are playing a role of shaping things for them, but they're still ultimately their own person, and they always will be. I don't know. Nobody can tear you down unless you let them. It's true. Just as true for the target of abuse as it is for the abuser. That abuser is stuck in that mode of fighting all the time because of something that they haven't addressed. So the people who have been targets of abuse really, really try as best you can to feel your feelings and love yourself enough to do that, and really take the time to heal those layers so that you are not then triggered and become abusive yourself. Please. That is a loving step for yourself as well as for others. How we treat other people is a reflection of ourselves, right? So don't let them turn you into them. That's what they did. They let whatever situations and abusive people and whatever in their lives turn them into them. Don't be one of them, please. Love yourself enough. You know, I know I said it in my previous video, but I've got to say it again. I can't say it enough. That love is the only real power. It will never be about something outside of yourself. It will never be success, admiration, fame, any of that crap. It will never be stomping on someone, that's for sure. It will never be about inequality of any, and there are no pedestals. Nobody is on a pedestal. If they feel they are, that's their own ego, delusion, power-mongering stuff, and it's not real. In the same way in the reverse, that if you feel like you're lower than other people, if you feel like you're not worthy, that also is an illusion. It's not real. Love is the only true power. Love is where balance can be created again. Love is where equality resides. Equality of all kinds, you know, male and female, sexual choices in your life, whether you're gay, straight, bi, whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with anything. That's just them. They're just being who they are. It's fine, you know? All these wars and like religious wars and nastiness, and I mean, it's just crazy. It's insane. Enough. There is no better than. Men are not superior to women. You know, sexual orientation, there is no right and wrong. There is not. There's only who you are. And that's it. Love is compassion, empathy, understanding, freedom, meaning I can be me and you can be you. Respect. The need and want to create that understanding, that freedom. The people who go through lives treating people like you need to do, be, think, and feel what I want, when I want, how I want. Wow. You know, those are the people you need to remove yourself from. And wish them the best as you do it. You know, hopefully, even in anger, pain, and all these things that you feel at the injustice of it, I know because I've been in it, you know, you can still love that person very much. You can still want the best for them. You can still hope that one day they'll get it and they'll stop being in that mode and they'll actually start really facing themselves and wanting to be better, not, you know, for themselves, if not for everybody else that, you know. There's a lot of ugliness out there, and it's so useless. It is, and it always will be. But it takes time for this kind of stuff to fade. It takes time for people to heal. And unfortunately, there's going to be those people that never do, and they'll never face anything, and they'll never stop that habitual cycle. And it's very sad. But all you can do is send them love. You know, once you get to a point where you're able to, you know, you're not drowning in that pain. You're able to have distance and just be like, okay, I understand why they are the way that they are, and I understand too that I don't deserve it. I really do wish them love. I really do wish them better and well, and you know, they just can't be in my life as long as that's where they're coming from, as long as that's where they're stuck. They're not going to be in my life like that, because I don't deserve it. Just love. Love as the base of all of it, right? Nobody can hurt you unless you let them. Nobody can tear you down unless you let them. Love yourself enough to know that you don't deserve it. And I realized, and I talk about this in my book, I realized throughout all of it how much I wasn't valuing myself. It was like early on in my childhood on up, so many things had happened, and people around me and just certain situations had really got me believing from a very young age that my emotions didn't matter, my words, my thoughts. You know, it's that being shoved down type of thing. And then pretty soon I started shoving myself down, right? I wish I could have realized all of that much earlier in my life. You know, I mean, it's kind of sad, unfortunately, that here I am, middle-aged, and, you know, I wish I could have understood it sooner. I really do. but that's okay. I mean, you know, it is what it is, right? So I'm going to make the best of things now and have been, you know, slowly improving things, and I will continue to do what I can. And I really want to help others in the same way. No matter what you've been through, no matter your age, no matter anything, really, there's never a wrong time for healing, for really loving yourself and putting your talents out there and trying new things and opening doors for yourself. And again, I always have to do that, the dynamic, because I think it's very important, you know. So that whole thing I just said was a lot for the people who've been down on themselves, but even the people who've been down on others, I mean, they're still down on themselves, obviously, or else they wouldn't be behaving that way. But the people that are more outwardly constantly doing that to people, you know, it's valid for them too. You've got to make a point just as much as anyone else of going within and really trying to stop that behavior. You either will or you won't, but you know, I just see, like, thinking of some of the people in my own life who have been abusive. I can look at them and I could roll out a long list of their positive qualities. So many strengths, so many good things. And that's what makes it that much more painful, is because you almost feel like they're wasting themselves, you know, because they keep getting addicted and habitually stuck in that toxicity, and they're not understanding that. You know, they're not understanding how they're their own worst enemy. Instead, they're just trying to tear everybody else down in order to avoid what's actually happening within them. And it's just sad. On the flip side, though, the target of that abuse, if they're still in the worst of that and they're, you know, kind of drowning in it, and I get it because I was there. It takes time. But then eventually they'll start to see, oh wait, you know, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this, to be in this. I deserve to be happy. I have talents and strengths and so much to give, that I have all these good positive things going on with me, in me, that enough of this. Enough of their toxic crap being dumped on me, basically. No, absolutely not. You know, so there's always, it's like this scale of imbalance, you know, and if either side can realize what they're doing, then it starts to come into balance in the center. And healing can start to take place, and right action, moral action. Whether that's the person who's abusive to others or it's the person who's abusive to themselves, right? It starts to come into balance. You know, the person who's abusive to themselves, not necessarily to others, like I basically realized I was, they're valuing other people more than themselves. They're being nurturing and caring and understanding and compassionate and helpful and strong for others, but they're not giving themselves the same. That was me. But that's not me anymore. I'm done with that. I don't deserve it. I never did. And, you know, again, I wish I could have realized it sooner, but the things have happened the way they've happened. And now I really, really, really want to help others. No matter who they are, no matter where they're at, no matter what they've done or haven't done, I don't care. I want to help. Because really underneath all of it is just the pain, the fear, where you're not loving yourself enough, where things have gotten into your head and twisted your thinking, your perspective. No matter who. So, nobody can tear you down unless you let them is so true. No matter whether you're the abuser or you're the target of abuse or what's happening, it's the truth. That person wouldn't be abusive if they were not stuck in, whatever crap happened that has them thinking they have to fight. They have to prove. They have to win. Win what? It doesn't do anything except cause chaos. Yeah. So anyway. I feel like this was kind of a rambling video. A little bit harder to get my points flowing, possibly. I don't know. I'll have to watch it back and see what I think. But anyway, I love you guys all very much. I really do. And I hope that this can be of some help. And I know I ended my last video this way, and I'm not going to say it every single time I do a video, but I feel the need to say it again. It's like, do something truly wonderful for yourself today. And then also do something truly wonderful for somebody else. And remember that they are one and the same. Okay? All right. I'll speak to you again soon. Bye-bye.